Matt Cox, the financial fugitive, is stopped at a bank in Columbia, South Carolina.
He was at the teller, and the cops came in and handcuffed him and said, "Come with me." And he was like, "Oh, crap."
I'm freaking out.
Cox goes downtown to the sheriff's department.
They let him drive his car, and that's when he called me and goes, this is bad. He's like, "They're here, they picked me up." At this point, they don't know he's Matthew Cox. They think he's Gary Sullivan, the homeless person.
Cox steals the identity of a street person and takes out one.
This is where she says, "I'm not bailing you out. Fuck you." And you said, "Well,
I say fuck you," but yeah, she's like,
I better not get arrested.
Like, fuck.
$2 million worth of loans on a house worth about $200,000. At the bank, Cox is trying to withdraw some of his fraudulent proceeds.
So they took him into a room, and he talked his way out of it. He told the guy, I have a second and third on my home. That's illegal."
I convinced him that there's nothing illegal about taking out multiple loans on the same house.
When the Richland County Sheriff's Department runs a criminal history for Gary Sullivan, they see no warrants for his arrest.
The local police at this point usually wouldn't make an immediate arrest unless someone was wanted. And of course, they ran the identity that Cox was using, but that person was not wanted. Gary Sullivan was not wanted.
The police in Columbia had him dead to rights, but they didn't have the paperwork and they weren't certain who they were dealing with. And he talked his way out of the situation and was gone.
In Columbia, Bridget Brown gets
I need that fucker on a podcast to give his side of the story.
call from the Secret Service. She and her husband go back to their home.
I've talked to him a few
Gary
times.
Sullivan, of course, is long gone.
On the kitchen countertop was a fax machine. On it was just tons of spilling out of mortgage applications for home equity loans. These were just some examples of the infamous loan applications that we found in our house.
That's actually a closing
where
statement.
he had forged our names and
But
said that he had paid us off and wanted to take the money and run, in essence.
The Browns now have 7 mortgages on their home. It will take them more than a year to clear the title. Cox and Hawk take their $1.2 million and flee to Houston. But life as Bonnie and Clyde is losing its appeal.
We used to fight all the time. We used to scream and yell at each other all the time.
It was like hell being with her. I mean, after we left, she blamed everything on me. What have I done? Why have I left? Why did I...
Look how dramatic these camera angles are. Can you appreciate this B-roll? They went out of their way to go to a motel room, fuck it all up, and then shoot these insane camera angles.
And we didn't live in a hotel. I was in Houston for less than 24 hours. She had moved there first. She rented a place in a post apartments, like fucking way up on like the 20th floor or something. I mean, had an amazing apartment.
Penthouse.
In not a penthouse, but whatever. It was up there. In Houston. I went there right after I got caught. We get into this huge fucking argument. She gives me $100,000 out of like $600,000. She gives me like $100,000. I take the fucking $100,000. I take off. I go back to Charlotte to pick up my car. Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where I almost get grabbed by the fucking U.S. Marshals. Remember I told you this at the Starbucks?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was there for. They made it sound like we hung out there, so I didn't hang out there. And on top of that, all this B-roll is bullshit. That's not the fuck. That's our hotel room.
It sells it, man. It really does sell it.
It makes good for good TV.
It's pretty fucking terrible B-roll though. But I guess this was put out in fucking.
Yeah, well, they weren't
2000s.
sophisticated like you are.
Well, I'm not sophisticated. I guess the style's just changed.
Yeah, there's probably better B-roll.
So
now.
why, if she had $600,000, why would you even accept her only taking $100,000 and giving her $500,000?
Man, she was because she had she was like, she didn't want to give me anything, bro. She wanted to give me like $10,000. So I'm arguing, and she finally said, "Look, I'll give you $100,000." I was saying split the money. She's saying $10,000.
I can't believe you even.
Well, first of all, because she was saying
about accepting half.
Here's what she's saying. She's saying that if I don't, we have to. You're going to be okay with this because because I was saying, look, I'll take all the fucking money if you don't split it. You'll have nothing. She goes, and where are you going to go with that? She goes, you're using a driver's license that they already know they're looking for this guy. Gary Sullivan was all the driver's license only one I had. Mm-hmm. They're like, Oh, I had a Michael Eckert one too. So they know who Michael Eckert is by now too. They're like, you're driving a Ryder truck in the name of a guy that they're going to be looking for, because if you take all the money, I'll call the police and they'll be looking for that Ryder truck in his name. Bitch. How many miles? 500, 1,000 miles away from, or a couple thousand miles away from Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah. I've got to go back there to get my car, which is also in the name of a guy they're looking for. But at least it's not the Ryder truck. Oh, you know, all my fake IDs? When I drove the Ryder truck there to move my apartment there, all of my stuff, because we lived in 2 separate houses at this point. She had her own fucking apartment. I had my own apartment. She had moved her apartment to Houston. So now I'm packing up my stuff and moving it. We put all my stuff in a storage unit along with my IDs. So I couldn't even go and say fuck you and grab all my IDs that I had collected. They're in her storage unit. So I'm just fucked. I've got 2 IDs with me that they're looking for and a Ryder truck. So we're arguing, and I'm saying I'll take all the money, and she's saying, and what? Where are you going to go? In the Ryder truck they're looking for, even if you have all the fucking money. She's like, I'll make one call. Here's the thing. If I was this brutal, angry, manipulative guy, I'd have just beaten her ass or something, or choked her to death, something. Instead, I'm sitting there like practically begging her, you got to give me something. I can't leave with 10 grand. What am I going to? But she did have a powerful argument, which was this. She said, look, I can't do what you do. You'll take the 100,000, you'll turn it into a couple million very quickly. I'm going to have to live off this money for the rest of my life. And she was right. She's not a con. She's not a grifter. She's not going to be able to survive. I didn't think she'd be able to go very long at all. I was amazed she lasted a year. And I remember thinking, she's right. I'll take the money. I'll make a bunch more money. And I did very quickly. I had a few $1 million very quickly.
Makes sense.
So I just grabbed the money and left. My biggest problem is I got no ID. I cannot get pulled over.
Yeah.
I do this. Oh my gosh. What have I left my son?
Rebecca hasn't seen her son in more than a year.
That's not true.
That's fucked up.
That's not true.
Why?
Because when we went to Vegas, we saw her son.
Really?
We stopped. We gave her son money. We gave her fucking parents money. We gave her ex-husband money. We gave everybody money. And by the way, when they catch her, she didn't give them all the money. She got a whole bunch of money. She told me that she had fucking money. She had left the money with the guy she's fucking banging. She told me she told me what really happened. So I'm like, damn. Oh, she did pretty good. Anyway, but yeah, she had seen her son. We went there and she saw her son, like, I hung out and she saw her son for like half a day, like 6 or 7 hours. Then she called me. I picked her up. Then we bought a bunch of fucking presents and gifts. She left him money. She left the husband. I actually gave the ex-husband money. I actually met him at his job. 30 grand.
Fuck.
Yeah, she gave her family money. She gave her son was actually staying with her mother. Like, we would just happen to drive by her mom.
Why would you give the ex-husband 30 grand?
Because, you know, he's taking care of the kid. She's not like she's paying.
You said the mother was taking care of the kid. You just said the kid was staying with her mom.
Yeah, for the weekend, bro.
Oh,
they all lived like
he was living with them.
No, like a couple miles. He was staying at the grandmother's house for the weekend. There, you know.
Okay. Well,
so we happened to. She's like, oh, let's drive by my mom's house. And as we're driving by the mother's house, she's like, she's like, oh my God, there's Bryce. He's playing in the front yard. And I was like, fuck, you wanted to see him? I go, do you want to stop here? Because we were going to go by the husband's house to see him. Because I'd already dropped off money at the husband's. So I was like, and I told the husband, he gave me his phone number and everything, and we were gonna set up a time. And I was like, fuck, if you want to see Bryce, you can do it right now. This guy's not getting off work for like fucking 6 or 8 hours. We do it right now. And she's like, I go, it's perfect because nobody expects it. He's there. So I pull over, I let her out. She walks in, she calls me and says, I'm good. You can go. I go down the street. I hang out for like 5 or 6 hours till eventually she calls me. She calls me every like hour or so. Eventually she calls me and says, okay, I'm ready. I go by, I pick her up. Then we end up meeting the husband again. We give him we buy a bunch of toys and everything. I mean, you know, look, it's a shitty thing, but it's like the least you can do. Like, her son's like, look, I want this, I want this, I want this. So we go and we spend a couple grand and buy him all these toys and all this stuff he wants. Come back, we drop it off with the fucking husband, with the ex-husband. You know, I mean, it's a shitty situation, but the whole, I hadn't seen my son and that's not true.
Sob story.
Dead or alive?
Sad. It's still sad.
And then there's the pressure from the Secret Service. Cox Googles himself constantly. He knows the Secret Service
this
is
day.
working with the media to get their
Now it's
faces in
YouTube.
front of as many people as possible. Rebecca Hawk can't stand the heat.
We were on TV. The U.S. Secret Service was doing a press conference about us. They had done our pictures, our warrant pictures, and I just freaked out. I'm like, no, we got to leave. We have to leave. We're too close. They're going to find us. We got to go.
She was definitely going to get us caught. I mean, that's what I was thinking. She was having a meltdown. I mean, she really was melting down. She was coming apart.
One morning in March of 2005, Rebecca takes a shower.
Not true. 24
Matt
hours I
Cox
was there. We
sees
had an argument.
Opportunity to steal away. He takes all the cash, but leaves behind all his cell phones.
That's true.
Any way that I could get a hold of him, he left. And I was just like, what? And so I expected, okay, he's going to come back. He's just mad. He's going to come back. And, well, he never came back.
She says you took all the money?
She keep in mind, look, that is basically, see how it's that slob,
Yeah.
whatever's going on there. That's basically how she lived.
Wow, they did a good job.
So that was actually a good B-roll. So
Shout out to the B-roll team at NBC.
So, first of all, she didn't get a job for a year. So if you didn't get a job for a year, how did you live if I took all the money?
Had 500 grand, bitch.
Yeah, you had 500 grand. So, one, you did keep the money. You're also, she had bought a brand new car and a motorcycle. She's paid in full for beauty school. So she's going to beauty school because she realizes after a few months he ain't coming back. So she says, okay, she does the beauty school thing. So how did you do all of that with no money? I mean, it doesn't even make sense. But see, like American Greed, they don't even question that.
No, of course not.
And the Secret Service agent, Adrian Peacock, she told me, she's like, no, I mean, we know you left her with money. Because I was like, I left her with money, and I don't have any fucking money. What do you mean money?
Yeah.
Fucking, she had money, and they're like, no, we know she had money. They're like, look, she had like 30 grand in the bank. The
Yeah.
car's paid for, motorcycle's paid for. She's got jewelry. She's been paying fucking like $2,000, $2,200 or something like that in rent every month. This is fucking 15 years ago. So they're like, trust me, we know she's got money.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, total fucking bullshit.
Weeks turn into months, and Rebecca tries to go straight. She makes up a new name, Rebecca Sue Hickey, and goes to work as a cocktail waitress. But someone recognizes her face.
We got a phone call based on our wanted poster that this person believed that she was using the name Rebecca Hickey.
Rebecca Hawk is arrested in Houston while attending class at a cosmetology school.
There were about 5 U.S. Marshals that came in to class, and I was just like, oh, man. And I thought, they're here for me.
The Secret Service hopes Rebecca can answer their most pressing question. Where is Matt Cox? She hasn't seen him or talked to him in a year. Cox is still on the run. Now he's in Nashville with a new girl and a new real estate company.
Single mother.
Maybe it's
Another
karma
single
catching
mother.
up with him. But the con man is about to become a victim when American Greed returns.
You can't get away with that forever. You're gonna get caught.
Is that the actual lady?
I've actually never. That police officer, like I've seen her on the show, and I've seen quotes from her and stuff. I don't ever remember talking to her. I think she may have been the person that called me to say, "Hey, can you meet us at the house?" But I don't ever remember interacting with her.